Well, Tom Brady has somehow landed Geno Smith at the Raiders. They have sent Geno Smith in exchange for a 2025 third-round pick. Smith was wanting a contract extension. The Seahawks just couldn't come up with an agreement on him, so he reunites with Pete Carroll at the Las Vegas Raiders, the team that is seemingly rebuilding, but yet you look at them and then you think, well, it's not half bad. I mean, it's not the greatest, but they could be in a worse position. They got a lot of old-timers there, but a lot of maturity in the locker rooms. Question to you. Do you like this move for the Raiders, yes or no?
I do like this move from the Raiders because it goes back to the point, for me, where it's all about adding legitimacy to this franchise. It's letting everyone know that this is a grown-up organization once again. Ultimately, the Raiders needed a quarterback. They couldn't go into the season with Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew if they wanted to be competitive at all on any level. And we were intrigued by the notion of them bringing in Pete Carroll. As you mentioned, Tom Brady. Brady's behind the controls. He's running this thing. It's interesting to see how he's going to work it, who he's going to bring in. And we said it when we did our Pete Carroll topic. This is about adding legitimacy back to the organization, back to the franchise, just giving you a stable foundation. That's what we said Pete Carroll was. Bringing in Geno Smith, that's more than a stable foundation. I've said in the past, I thought it was time for the Seahawks to, start thinking about the future. But Geno is a reliable quarterback. You say, like you're not sure, but he can win you football games. I mean, the Seahawks were on the cusp of playoff contention each year with him.
Yeah, you just said stable foundation. I don't know if I'd say stable. A little shaky at times, but foundation nonetheless.
Yeah, but he's a reliable quarterback for sure. He's far superior than Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew.
Well, yeah.
Like, he can actually compete.
Agree.
He can win games. You could, putting the rest of the roster aside, assume you had a good roster in Geno Smith at quarterback, you could make the playoffs. Before we continue with the video, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Tell your friends about it. We're trying to grow this channel. Two idiots covering one sport. Subscribe so you feel better about your sports takes. Back to the video. I think Geno Smith has gotten knocked a little bit because of the poor offensive line play in Seattle. Like, he really didn't get a lot of help. He was running for his life. He was still making things happen. But this is just the Raiders getting their head above water, saying that, hey, we are rebuilding, but this is year one of the rebuild, and we want to compete. We don't want to win 4 games. We want to win 7 or 8. And honestly, they're on a path to do this. This is just stability, and that's what they needed most. The other thing it tells me, Ryan, and I'll throw it to you, this is also an indication that they didn't like any of the quarterbacks in the draft. Obviously, they probably weren't in a position to get Cam Ward, so putting him aside, this tells me they didn't really like Shedeur Sanders or any of the other options, or maybe they would have taken one or tried to move up and get one in the first round. They want a lockdown quarterback right now.
Do you blame them not liking any of the quarterbacks coming out of the draft?
No, I don't. I'm not a big fan.
None of them just wow me,
Cam Ward's the only one I would really take a chance. And just fair warning, I have not really dug into the tape on those guys yet, so I will, and we'll talk about it. But at a glance from what I've seen, Cam Ward's the only one I would take a flyer on.
Yeah, probably so. But no, you're absolutely right when you mention stability. This is what the team is shooting for, and this is what they're building. It's stability. I know there's supposedly some limitations in Tom Brady's ownership and everything about how much he can really be involved and all that good stuff. Everybody knows that he's getting the final call at the end of the day. Like, hey, Tom, what do you think? They just hold up a piece of paper, yay or nay, and he's just like, that one. That's what they do.
Well, Mark Davis has said as such. He said that they've had such a bad run of coaches. They fired multiple coaches. He's basically said, without saying it, that he's turning over the keys of the football organization to Tom Brady.
Now, who's he giving the keys to the barbershop to?
I don't know, but I would throw those away if you get your hands on them.
So far.
Go to a different barber.
Yeah, go to some river somewhere and just toss them. Just get rid of them. But stability is what they're shooting for. And I think that at the end of the day, when you look at all these pieces they're bringing in, they're not bringing in a Super Bowl contending team. That's not their intentions, I don't believe. I don't think they're trying to fool anybody. They're trying to bring into the locker room a team atmosphere, which has been lacking from the Raiders for a long time.
No, I agree with that. The question then, how much of an addition do you think Geno Smith is? Because obviously before this, we were saying maybe if they could win 5 games, this is a big task. Now, Geno Smith, you've got Brock Bowers, you've got some pieces. Do you think this is a team that could contend for 7 wins? I know the roster's not incredible, but it's not terrible. They have some pieces. Does this addition alone, or combine this addition with Pete Carroll, does this put them as a fringe playoff contender?
I mean, it's a hard division,
Yeah.
Like, it's just hard. So I'm not going to go that far yet. I think that Geno and Pete Carroll and all that, they'll wind up doing more for the future of the Raiders than they will the current Raiders. You know what I'm saying? Like, they will build something to be built upon in the future, because right now it's just a bunch of rubble.
Okay, that's fair. Well, so if you were a Raiders fan and you see this move and you're trying to
be depressed.
You would be depressed about Geno Smith when you were having Aiden O'Connell?
I'm a Raiders fan. I've been depressed for a long time.
Okay, so but put that aside. If you could, take some SSRIs and get that depression knocked away.
All right.
How just this move alone, looking at it, how much do you think this improves the season? Where do you think are realistic expectations for the team?
Yeah, if let's make it easy, because we both know that college wasn't our thing. So 1 through 10. All right. If I was at a 4 before, I'm probably at a 5.5. That's kind of where this needle has moved me.
I'm surprised. You're lower. I think this is a great move for them. I think
it's a great move, but I don't think it really changes much of anything as far as the outcome of the season. Now, it maybe a couple of more wins,
right?
But I don't think we're talking about playoff contention here. Like,
probably not. No, but I think I think it's a very big difference between a team with Aiden O'Connell, where you're going to be drafting in the top 5 or 6, to a team that's going to be in competitive games in the AFC West.
Well, when I saw the news break, let me just reenact how I perceived it. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Oh, that was it. That's just kind of how I felt about it. Like, it didn't really just stand off the page to me, or is that an expression? I don't think so.
Stand off the page, maybe?
It didn't stand off the page to me.
Well, we'll talk about the other side. When I saw the news, my main reaction was looking at it from the Seattle side. Like,
I'm more interested in that.
Yeah, okay. And we'll get to that later in the episode. So
it's hard for me to be interested about anything at the Raiders. It's just, they got a lot to show before I can start throwing my hat in the ring and feeling excited. And then maybe moving that needle a little past 6.
I agree with that. I think, end of the day, if you're a Raiders fan, the stability, the foundation should be something to be excited about. It's sad that because that is a low bar, but over the past decade plus, like having Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, it's such an upgrade over what you've been dealing with.